Welcome, everyone. This is Pound Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I'm joined by Krister
Hello.
and Cinders.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Are you ready to sit through some release notes?
Oh,
You came
I,
back
I mean,
just
yes. I mean, yes.
in time.
Gosh darn it.
Oh, well, yes, that's right, because that's right. This week, we had the release of Update 43.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
We,
The raid.
yes, The Secrets of Utug Burr. And so here are the release notes for Update 43, released on Thursday, February 27th, 2025. The inner sanctum of Utug Burr opens its gates, dark forces gather, and a ritual nears completion. One that could change Middle Earth forever. Only those with courage can stand against Azagoth and what lurks beyond. Will you rise to the challenge before it's too late? Of special note, Tier 1 of the new raid Temple of Utuk-Bur releases at noon on Eastern on Thursday, February 27th, which means it is now open. The Dagor Karlanthier, the Battle of the Red Waterfall, is over. Scouts searching for any sign of Azagoth's Sea Shadow or his evil masters have discovered a hidden passage along the cliffside overlooking the valley. Yes, I have actually found that particular passage. An unsealed passage to Utubur. Braving both their own unease and the stench of death, the advanced scouts discovered a vestibule within the crumbling structure. Establishing a small outpost at the intersection among the ruins, their wait for the heroic allies to press further into the darkness and confront an evil from out of time. So, yes, that is where you're going to go in order to pick up all the quests for the raid. To access the vestibule of Dugburg, travel northeast of Nirazeg along the banks of Sur Akil. A small outpost has been established in a cavern beneath one of the waterfalls. We have released Tier 1 of the new raid Temple of Utukbur available to players who have reached level 150 and who have access to the Legacy of Morgoth expansion content. Tier 2 will open at noon Eastern on March 13th, and 3 will open at noon Eastern on March the 20th. The Leading the Charge deed for the Temple of Utukbur is available to earn until 3 a.m. Eastern on April 30th. So there you go. Have you had a chance to do it yet, Krister?
Oh, no.
Okay,
No, kind of get back in the swing of things. But I like how the scouts just establish the vestibule and then they expect other people to go in deeper.
yes. Well,
I don't want to go in there.
That's pretty
yes,
standard.
yes, I did hear that Ploy went there last night.
Oh, they deployed?
Yes, they deployed.
They did deploy, and it looks like it was a success because they're planning the second wing for this Friday.
Right.
So
Yeah, they completed the first wing based on what. Well, the extensive research done by Cinders.
Well, rock on. I'll have to talk to
Yes.
talk to them about it.
Now, if you want to see how the raid goes, yesterday during his weekly stream, Cordovan actually participated in a raid for Temple of Utug-Bur, and he sort of, I guess you could say he almost cheated because he decided to join in with a tier 5 raidkin. So in other
Or he
words,
just chose wisely.
yeah, he chose wisely. I guess that's the way, but he chose wisely. He went in with a set of tier 5 raiders, so therefore you can imagine that they had already completed the raid the day before. So most of the people in the party he had already knew the raid fairly well enough. But since Cordovan was there, they were able to explain and answer questions about the raid as they were going on, so that Cordovan will know what was going on and not completely die or anything like that into there. And them being a tier 5 raid group, they did all 3 wings in under an hour.
Wow.
I mean, combined time.
That's
So,
impressive. Yeah.
yeah, that was impressive.
Sounds like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, there was certainly a kin that I guess you have a kinship that knows each other well and know what they're doing. They can really get through the tier 1. I'm sure the first time I attempt to do that one, it's going to be, ah!
Well, with Cordovan doing that, that reminds me of the movie Dragon Slayer, where they do all the work to kill the dragon, and once the dragon's dead, the king shows up with his retinue, comes up and inserts his sword into the heart of the dragon, and they go, "Oh, Dragon Slayer, King blah blah." It's like, I don't think so.
Well, that's why the ones who really slew the dragon decided it's time to get out of this kingdom.
That's right.
All right. And anyway, the raid is now up and available. I'm sure that those who have the best chance of completing it quickly already know that. So that was the first major item in this update. The second one is that birding has been updated. There are more than 100 new birds to find and 9 new territories to search. Birding is now available in Fangorn, Lorien, Mirkwood, the Croftlands, the East Fold, the Entwash, the Great River, the West Fold, and the Wold. Combined across all the new regions, there are over 100 new birds to find for you to find and add to your collection, with each region having accomplishments for finding the various birds and a title to be granted if you find the rarest bird in each new region. In addition, birds of these new regions are more difficult to spot, and only experienced birders will be able to find the uncommon and rare birds in each territory. Now, I did attempt to look for some birds in with my warden. My warden, I think going into this was around 130 on the level for birding in there. And it looks like that 130 was high enough in order to find the uncommon birds, but it was not high enough to find the rare ones. I managed to get to 150 over the weekend and before this episode, and I could not find any rare birds at 150 either. So I suspect finding rare birds is going to be something that's going to require me to be at least 180 or maybe even 200 in order to get them. And I'm sure that the rarest bird is going to be a 200 one. That's, of course, assuming that I just didn't have bad luck or anything like that. But right now it looks like 130 is enough for the uncommon ones. The common ones, yeah, I don't think there's any minimum for the common ones. And I think that whatever is the one for the rare ones, I think it's at least 160. And I'll probably have to do more testing and see if I can find a final number at some point. But I have yet to find a rare bird in any of those areas. So I'm presuming that when they say you need to be of the higher levels, you need to be of the higher levels. I'm going by assumption now that you've started looking for birds yet.
No, but I hope there's a bird called a bald schmeagle.
The bald schmeagle.
You think it'd be incredibly rare. Although I think he was, I feel like he was bald every time I saw him. So maybe he wasn't.
Yeah.
But he didn't have wings. I'm pretty sure he didn't have wings. But maybe I couldn't spot him because my birding wasn't high enough.
Yes, because last I saw bald schmeagle, he was falling down into a lava pit or something like that.
Was he falling down or was he attempting to fly? I swear I saw him flapping.
He didn't do a very good job of flying, I can say that.
Maybe he flies through the lava, not the air. Maybe there's a different type of bird. Mm-hmm. A lava bird.
Okay.
Aren't you glad to have me back?
Right. Next, the 13th Legendary Items Reward Track has begun. The 13th season of Legendary Items Reward Track launches with the release of Update 43 and includes numerous rewards to claim, including the incomparable Coffer of the Dragon's Hoard housing item. Boy, that sounds like it's going to take up space in your inventory. The Legendary Coffer of the Glorious Memory of Gondor housing item. The legendary coffer of the Emerald Drakeling pet, and the legendary coffer of the Water Buffalo family. And that is 3 different pets, a bull, a cow, and a calf. And the 13th Legendary Item Rewards track runs through May 20th, 2025. But additionally, the Legendary Items level cap goes up to 530 with Update 43. So don't forget to reforge your Legendary Items. You thought you had everything done on them? Not yet. So yes, that's our 13th season has started on there. Now, because this is a new season, there is, of course, the tradition. The first time you log a character onto the server after the start of the new season, you sort of crash.
Well, that explains everything. So
yeah, so therefore you crash, but then you just go and log in again to it. So that's a tradition. I've not yet quite figured out whether it's one time per server, or it's one time per character per server, or more likely one time per character that's of a certain level per server, or what, Anyway, so if you run into a couple crashes logging in, it's probably because of that.
Sam says it sounds like Smeagol is a fish, not a bird.
yeah, I couldn't think of a fish that would rhyme with Smeagol, though. I thought Eagle Schmeagol. Eagle Schmeagol.
Yeah, I can't think of any
Octoschmeagol?
Octoschmeagol?
Sorry. That was terrifying. How many rings could he wear?
Oh boy. that would be well, I would presume because yeah, but I mean even a human could wear 8 rings because they've got
10 digits.
Yeah, but that'd be a bit gaudy.
Because of
I think
fingers.
it'd look better on an octopus.
I mean, and an octopus could just like string them all the way up his tentacles.
Ooh.
Sorry. Sidetrack.
Aren't you glad to have me back?
yes, we are.
Chaos. Pure chaos.
All right. And also, the deed log has received a visual update. We've made significant visual updates to the deed log, which is accessible through the main game menu by pressing Shift L. For a short time, the old deed log will be available by pressing Control L. Though, of course, I usually just hit a button or open up the deed log. And the user interface has received a redesign. Tabs are gone, and we now use a tree format. Select your deed group and subgroup in the left panel, then select the deed to view it on the right. There is also a basic search feature that currently searches deed titles for exact string matches. Note, it says deed titles. In other words, it's not searching the text of the deed itself. So you need to know what the name of the deed is in order to be able to find it that way. Now, there is also a crash that's associated with the deed log, where apparently that if you complete certain deeds, you could potentially crash your character. I don't know what triggers it or anything like that, or if there are certain combinations that have to be with it. But I do know that in that... What?
I was reading through the comments on it, and it sounds like they still don't know what exactly is triggering it.
Yeah.
Except that it is related to the deed log. And I had to giggle because somebody put in, even the game is rejecting the new deed log.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of people complaining about the deed logs, about the new deed logs. So I can understand. Yes, so that's the perfect joke for it. Yes. So yes, we do have a little difficulty on that matter. Now, I did notice that during the raid on Cordovan, I think when the fifth boss went down, the one of the one of the players did get a crash as a result of completing whatever deed was associated with that, but not the rest of the players did not. So obviously means it doesn't affect everyone, or maybe he was the only one who finished a deed with that particular kill or something like that. I don't know, but that does say that one person has something happen to it that doesn't necessarily affect everyone. I know there's someone who crashed a lot of times during our Friday night fight session last night, but I don't know if that was related to this or if it was for some other reason. Now, I do know that whenever I completed a birding deed, my level 150 did crash.
Yeah.
Crash. Every single time I said, okay, hey, that was my usual sign that says, oh, I completed another deed, is because my system suddenly locks up and it started crashing. Okay, a sure sign that I completed a new deed on the birding table.
Yeah, Sam says he was crashing when he clicked on deeds locked on the quest bar as well.
Okay, once they were locked on the. All right, so that did tell me to don't click on deeds on the quest bar for now. Then. So yes, they're hoping that they'll have a fix for that by next week. I'm sure, because next week there's probably going to be a small patch order to take care of this, but there's a lot more happening next week, which we'll be discussing after I finish with the release notes. Now, news and notes. 3 new heritage options are now available when creating characters for the race of man: Harad Ordach, Hrun, and Umbar. Characters can now select an alternate heritage title appropriate to their race by speaking to a notary and completing the corresponding quest. Dwarves and stout axe dwarves should visit War Inksleaf in Thorns Hall. Hobbits and river hobbits should visit Whiston Whitfoot in Mickledelving. Race and man characters should visit Bonning Milkweed in Bree, and elf and high elf characters should visit Luberthread in Dweland or one of the notaries in Rivendell. It's amazing that Rivendell needs multiple notaries to facilitate character transfer to our upcoming new 64-bit worlds. Premium homes will return 100% of their writ cost when sold. This applies to all worlds and will remain in effect through the end of the free transfer period, August 31st, 2025. Foreclosed premium houses will continue to refund 80% of the writ cost. Please note that only kinship leaders who own premium kinship houses need to sell their homes prior to the transfer. Now, as for events, updated the Forester event to correctly consume the acts that you collect to engage with the quest. And for Veil of the Nine, Ringwraith Arena Space Radar is now just black. And there are now items available through Amelia that can prevent event spawns for players when equipped.
Wait. Does that mean that if I were to play on that and I had those, I wouldn't have to deal with the ring wraith?
That's what it sounds like. Now, that means that you won't spawn any. Of course, if you're standing next to a person.
Oh, never mind.
That's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there
I'll
are
still
ways
stay
for
off
you to
those
run
worlds. No worries.
Yeah, that just means that you won't spawn, and it does not mean that none will spawn in your vicinity if there are others who don't have that item on them.
Sigh.
Yeah, no, I know. I was thinking, yeah, that's all nice of that, but when you asked that question, I thought about it and said, oh yeah. Those raids do have a workaround. So let's head
Too
into
good to be true.
Yeah, too good to be true, yes. So let's go to Hobbit gifts. The minimum level required to open the Universal Solvent packages from Hobbit Presents and LOTRO Store has been reduced from 50 down to 15. The Virtue XP awarded by Hobbit Presents now has an updated icon to differentiate between the VXP values. Yeah, they look a lot. They look strange and unfamiliar the first time you look at this. I say they look so different to them. But I didn't notice how I tell what their values are based on how they looked. I guess I have to look
Oh,
at
it's
that a
more
little
about
bit
how they
better.
taste.
More how they taste. Okay. In Hobbit Presents, the decorated heritage runes with a level 85 requirement have been replaced with plain heritage runes that can be used as soon as reward track is available, which is as low as level 45. These can be found in uncommon and incomparable silver gifts and common gold gifts. The large box of festival tokens, fall injury immunities, marks, medallions, and plus 100% mark acquisition boosts have been removed from Hobbit presents. I'm sure that people are going to complain about the removal of the fall injury immunities.
They might.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the favorite ones to get.
But, I mean, if they're on a burglar, do they really need them?
Okay, you got a point there. Silver Hobbit presents will no longer drop scrolls of universal crafting lore and instead have a chance to drop a universal optional ingredient. Gold Hobbit presents will give 3 bottle potions of restoration rather than just 1. Okay, because it was rather weird that the gold hobbits and the silver ones will give the same number of battle potions of restoration. Power potions will drop less frequently than morale potions in Hobbit presents. And rally horns and landscape soldier tokens will drop somewhat less frequently from Hobbit presents. And that's it for the changes in Hobbit gifts. So let's go to classes and skills. For the classes, brawlers, burglars, captains, and mariners should now correctly be able to remove fear effects with their CC break skills, slip free, find footings, withdrawal, and sea legs. I'm sure you're happy about that, Cordman, at least for the Cordman, Krister, at least for the point of view for the captains.
Of course.
Okay.
Yep. That was a big part of it. This,
Yeah, it sounds like
dispersing fear was when I first learned how to be aware of that mechanic. I think it was in the Mines of Moria that I figured that out.
Now,
I think it was the endless stare instance, if I'm not mistaken, where you had to spell fear on like one of the first.
Yes, I know that very, very first battle.
Yep. Yeah, that's when I started playing. That's when I started raiding. It was around that time, so that's when I started learning. Hey, I've got all new. I have a whole different batch of skills I've never used.
Okay, and so now you have that, and that's one less problem you have to worry about. Yes, that one doesn't work. Yes, Cinders?
I was going to say, before we move too far from Hobbit gifts, Sam says the way to tell the difference is the gold gift ones have a gold arrow and the silver gift ones had a silver arrow.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay. I guess when I read it, I thought that you were supposed to be able to tell the denomination within it, and since currently, or at least past, there are different denominations based on the tier of it. So it's not only whether silver was, whether it was silver from whichever hobbit it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well. I guess I have to look more carefully on that. But okay, silver versus gold arrow.
Look, so.
Yeah, there is that. All right. Then the offensive buff to arms and the West Wind, including that applied by Keeper of Animals' major skills, will now lock each other out from being used and can no longer be stacked before their exhaustion lockout period. And many skills across classes with cooldowns longer than 60 seconds have been updated so that they are reset by raid boss cooldown resets. For the brawler, when specialized in the fulcrum, brawlers can now block incoming attacks. Burglars, when traded into the quiet knife, Knives Out will now correctly be reset by Call to Greatness rather than Coup de Grace. The trait Focus Strikes will now grant your toggle skill rather than applying its effect directly. This effect can be used more flexibly apply or remove the effect of the trait. Backstab's potency has been reduced. It now grants a plus 7.5% positional damage at max rank. Burglar damage overall has been increased by 7.5% to compensate for this. So therefore, I guess I suspect they wanted to increase the burglar's damage output, but did not want the positional damage to make that overpowerful. So that's the reason why they did it that way, my guess. But anyway, I have to play my burglar to see if that really helps because last time I played my burglar, I felt like I was fighting with a butter knife. Yeah. For the captain, Armor of the Brazen Call now correctly reduces the cooldown of your yellow line Standard of Valor rather than the blue line Standard of Honor. And the 2-arm skill reset granted by the Umbari Armor of the Commander 6-set bonus should now correctly reset the cooldown of Gallant Display.
What does
Sounds like
gallant?
good news.
What does gallant display actually look like? Now I'm curious. I've
Probably
never
something
heard that one
lame.
before.
Is that the one that makes people go cheer you or something like that? Or kneel to you?
The forced emote, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe it.
Googling.
Ooh. Gallant display. Well, while you Google that, I will head on into the champion.
Okay.
When specialized in the martial champion, you can now block incoming attacks even while dual wielding. The Deep Strike's bleed no longer deals initial damage, but will apply partial pulse damage if a new application of Deep Strikes overwrites the existing instance of it on your target. Deep Strike's damage has been reduced by 5%. Blade Store damage has been increased by 15%, and Fury of the Blades damage has been increased by 5%. The Essence of the Red Storm no longer deals trivial damage. Well, you don't want to deal trivial damage, that's for sure.
I've got it when you're ready.
Okay, what's going on then?
So it's actually an AoE healing skill and should be used frequently. As long as the captain is not having power issues, this skill should be used at least once every 12 seconds to maintain the gallant display effect. Captains generally use this skill when all other main healing skills are on cooldown. So it says it is an attack that heals the fellowship and wounds enemies in front of I'm assuming in front of you instead of if you. This skill heals more but costs more power with each subsequent use. Your gallant display raises your fellowship's morale. Subsequent uses will increase the cost, amount healed, and amount of damage done.
Okay.
Sounds very gallant.
Very. But doesn't seem to actually have a visual description to go with it.
Oh, well.
All
Probably just everybody turning green slightly. You know how the heals work.
Just not with nausea.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, not unhealthy green. Yes, let's go to the Guardian then. So let's see what Cinder thinks about this. Guardians now benefit from 5% bonus to damage when wielding hammers after level 5.
I'm seriously considering switching
from
a sword to a hammer, just for that purpose.
Okay, then swords don't give you any sort of bonus at the moment?
I don't know what their bonus is, but 5% just sounds great. 5% added to nothing is slightly better than nothing.
Well, Not if we take that by serious mathematics, but okay.
Okay, so if you assume that it's not truly nothing, it's like
Yeah,
1,
okay.
then it would be better than literal 0. So it's
Yes,
not
okay.
truly literal 0. It's not
Yeah, no. You're just being a little
spectacular.
hyperbolic today. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, also, armor of Durin's Guard now correctly reduces the cooldown of Juggernaut.
Oh, that would be so nice. I
Now
like
for
Juggernaut.
hunters. Now let's go for hunters. The all hunter damage has been increased by 8%. It sounds like someone went through some negotiations here. It was 5% was what they had when they had the initial beta, and then of course the hunters were asking for 15%. So I guess this is what the bartering eventually got.
But this is so not cool. Do you know how much harder it's going to be to hold on to stuff again? I guess if they're dumb enough to pull them off, that they should be strong enough to deal with it. But still.
All right. Anyway, penetrating shot has been increased by 15%. Rain of arrows by 15%. Oh no, you're really going to scream about rain of arrows. This is rain of arrows when that draws the. Since it's an AOE, I could just imagine an AOE with extra 15% damage. A Guardian's Nightmare.
Right. Also, Sam is pretty funny. He goes, when talking about the Gallant display, maybe it makes people sing like in the musical show. And then he followed it up with, "Stop! Cinder's hammer time."
No, we do not need to see Cinders in parachute pants.
All right. And Swift Bow has been increased by 10%. Also, bleeds applied by barbed arrow and penetrating shot will now apply partial pulses when overridden. The insignia of the Shigani Hawk's bonus bleed applied by penetrating shot will no longer remove your target's barbed arrow bleed when it is applied. And the insignia of the Shigani Hawk's bonus bleed applied by penetrating shot now has 1 additional pulse. For the Lore Master, Staff Strike's bonus damage from consuming a flank now correctly scales based off of a single target critical magnitude rather than AoE critical magnitude. Okay, that makes sense. Flank Strike's bonus damage now correctly deals frost damage. And corrected an issue with Flank Strike dealing trivial damage while wearing the Stone Reader's armor set. And it's good to fix bugs. Now for the Mariner. The Dol Amroth armor of the Sea Tamer now gives appropriate Mariner set bonuses. Well, thank you.
That's awesome. What were they given to the hunter or something, or a captain? That's so funny.
Yeah, most likely. More likely the hunter would be my guess on that matter. Duelist honor potency has been reduced and now grants plus 7.5% positional damage at max rank. Mariner damage overall has been increased by 7.5% to compensate for it, as if they needed an extra 7.5% to compensate for it.
Right.
Well, though I think that they're probably more like, if they're soloing at least, they're more likely to be in a position where they're doing positional damage than a burglar would be, because burglars fighting solo get 1 hit with positional damage, then the target turns around and goodbye positional damage. With Mariners, though, since they get positional damage by attacking from the front,
ooh, that is helpful.
They're so I guess that nerfing their positional damage is just to keep it even. I think it is pretty much, because 90% of the time, I think at least Mariners are going to be attacking with the positional damage. So if you reduce that, yeah, I think that's the reason why they did it that way. Oh, for minstrels, several healing skills can now target NPCs, including Triumphant Spirit, Perfect Ending, and Coda of... Wait. You mean they weren't able to target NPCs before? That can explain a great deal.
Hey, does that mean that they can keep what's his face alive? Ferdinand in the one. I should know the name of this. What is that skirmish, Pine Leaf?
For
with the old lady and the dragon.
Okay. Yes. So we're talking about Amlan and is that Saradin who's with Amlan? Amlan is
Saradin,
the
yeah,
second.
that one.
Saradin.
That
Yeah,
one.
keeping the Rangers alive. Let's just say it that
Yes.
way.
Does that mean that
keeping
will
the Rangers
work?
alive. Well, I hope so.
All right.
I mean,
Next time we
usually
play, we're
Amlan
gonna
is doing
try it.
healing.
Well, which one is the one that runs up there and then like dies and takes the whole thing out?
Oh, that's yeah, the one who usually winds up dying. Well, if Amlan dies, you don't notice it necessarily because it doesn't end the skirmish. It's Saradin dying that will end the skirmish.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And the expiration heal from Legend of the Hammerhand no longer heals a percentage of the target's maximum morale. It now uses a standard healing potency regardless of the target's max morale value. That'll make Krister happy because he doesn't like percentage damage and heals, right?
That's right.
And
no percentages anywhere.
Okay. As for the Runekeeper, Mystifying Flames debuff is now an additive modifier rather than a multiplicative modifier. And the trait Fire Affinity now reduces the lightning damage bonus by 10%. All right. The trait Fire Affinity. Oh, Fire Affinity. So, of course, Fire Affinity, yeah, that makes sense that it'll reduce your lightning damage because now you got this affinity with fire that you're specializing in. Okay. For combat and monsters, wolves in the Weather Hills of the Lonelands will no longer stand around in very large groups.
Boo.
Have they broken up into smaller groups?
I guess so. They put into break groups then.
But maybe they just run around in large groups instead of just standing there. Just this big circle of wolves.
And the rare monsters inside Sarnur will now respawn 1 hour after they have been defeated.
I am so happy about that. So happy about that. Sans and I spent probably 4 or 5 hours one day trying to get all of the rare monsters inside Sarnur. It's been a few years now. But I remember doing that and being so irritated because we didn't know how long it would take them to respawn.
Oh, that's right, because I think it used to be a 6-hour time limit.
I don't know if it was a 6-hour time or if it was after all of them had been killed or if it was after like only certain ones were up at certain times. I don't know. I don't remember, but it was so hard to do. But that's so nice. That was a great idea. My compliments. To whoever decided that, you have a friend. A new friend. One you probably didn't want, but you have one.
All right. Let's go to crafting. Tattered Lingflood parchments and Lingflood sealed wax are now using the proper icons. Yay! The crafted Elegant Mariner's Flute and Exquisite Elegant Mariner's Flute now have been corrected to no longer require clarinet use. Oh boy, that was always a pain. And or Glamdream reputation. The minimum use requirements has been lowered from 60 to 40, simply because the intended range for that particular ability was 40. Yes, that was a really bad range there that they had for that particular item in there. And especially in there when it said just to poke me in the stomach, say, oh yeah, by the way, you have to know how to play a clarinet to play this specific flute. I don't know why, but You have to do it. And I think I had to go to a minstrel in order to get trained in the clarinet so that I could use one of those things. And the crafted elegant Ilex Mariner's flute and exquisite Ilex Mariner's flute have been corrected to no longer require clarinet use or glamdring reputation. Address an issue with recipes offered by old barman and adjusted the names of the recipes offerings from old Ballman to call out the recipes which are modifiable. All right, that's it for crafting. And now we have the long one, the quests, the deeds, and the adventure areas. Anything anyone wants to add before I head into the marathon?
I'm
I was
preparing
just
myself.
I was just gonna tell you, Sam says the old lady and the dragon sounds like an interesting fantasy novel.
The old woman and the dragon. Okay.
And he says it's also the notorious clariflet or flute.
The Clara flute. Oh boy. That reminds me. I think that my Mariner, because the Merry Crew, when was the last time we've updated our musical instruments on our Mariners? I
I
think we
don't
better
know,
check them out.
but somebody
Oh,
really should play bagpipes and an
well,
accordion.
well, for Mariners, I think that a concertina would be more appropriate.
I would settle for a concertina, yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's go into quest deeds and adventure areas. Quest Umbar, Catacombs, Temple, Bits and Bobbles, Induction Bar now says collecting when recovering valuable goods. Okay. Defacing the ruins no longer references ruins in the bestowal or the induction. Adjusted voiceover in several quests to have them conform with standards for general quests and instant spaces. Updated directions of the following quests in Kudzagin: To Be His Eyes, A Vengeance of Sight, Ration, Recovery and Retribution, and Shelter for the Road. Updated quest directions for Awkward First Steps. Updated intercept the courier to ensure that the courier spawns when you reach the hiding location. Also added the defeat of the courier as an objective to the quest. Thank you. That one was always confusing whenever we hid and we're okay. Where's the courier now? Where's the courier? Celirtus should now have her correct appearance during her visit to Ermach. And I had thought that she decided to remove her hat or something.
Yeah, and it took her hair with her.
It took her hair. Oh, she must have had. She was having her wig washed or something.
Yes.
The Western Gondor dailies at Tarlag's Crown, Ker Izil and Kerbras can now be reset using mithril coins. Corrupt wolves associated with the Aaron Lasglin quest along the Rachlo are now classified as beasts to be consistent with the other enemies in the quest. Reputation earned from completing Survivors of Wildemore dailies has been increased to 900 points. Wildemore's Recovery, the daily wrapper of these quests, that will now award 1,200 reputation points. The unusual physics in the caves of Khaoburu have been corrected, so now it should be easier to pass through. I can't remember which cave that is, so
No idea.
So I guess I have to take their word for that. Players will no longer see a quest ring where there is no NPC inside of Girhazi's lodge. Oh yes, that quest ring. Yes, that annoying quest ring. that you see whenever you're in there, and we keep on saying, "Oh, we need to go in." Oh, wait, where's this person? Yes,
Yeah, that
due
would
to
be
popular.
thankful. Thankful
Yes,
that's gone.
yeah, and also what you're going to be thankful is here is due to popular demand, the ladder up to Ashigir in Urashtar no longer has a quest requirement on it, so you can now use it whenever you like. Thank you.
Yeah. Except for those of us who went and did all of it, and you get all the way through, and then it opens, and you never have to be over there again.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it. Is that theoretically
2 months
will,
too late.
Yeah, 2 months too late. The quest Voice in the Wind now rewards Ikerbani faction experience. The quest Intercept the Courier has its quest guide location radius increased to make it appear clearer on the map. Yeah, it is very hard to see. The instance version of the quest Across the Ikerban now has a level of 150 associated with it. The quest Respite at Shonith now grants Kintai faction experience. The counter for total number of Ordekai to eliminate in the quest Flowers of the Floodplain now correctly reflects the 12 eliminations needed to advance when announcing the number of kills. Ellendale now has a voiceover when turning in the Mordor Besieged quest Lost Lore of the Great Alliance. In Elderslade, the name of the interior of the cave Titzagath on the island of Grithom will now display correctly. 2 quests, Striking Grithom and Assisted Research, which have objectives inside the cave, have been versioned. Players who logged out with the quest in progress will need to return to these quest givers to have them re-bestowed. And I'm trying to remember, all right, what quest is? Oh, okay, that's one of those quests. Okay, inside Elder Slate. Oh, yes. The War of Three Peaks area. All right, an issue has been resolved that would cause invisible physics to be present in the Stout Axe intro. Updated the Umbar Mall Catacombs quest, Stolen Mementos, to flow better narratively. Note, this quest will be versioned upon release. Floating footprints in the instance the Great Goblin in Exile have been grounded. Urashtar Tortoise and Sandstorm enemies now correctly drop trophy items. In the Hobbit tutorial instance, Bounder Boffin is no longer holding 2 weapons in the same hand. He was?
That'd be cool. He could have like a throwing knife and a short sword. And like when they're coming in, he throws the knife, but then he just twirls the sword in his hand and then comes back up.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm putting too much thought. Maybe I've had too much caffeine.
Not unusual. All right. In the Wildwood quest, the Tomb of Halth Eglan and the quest guide now directs you to the Rithen set entrance closest to the objective. Thank you. In the Udun instance, the Fatal Prize, it should be more apparent that it is Captain Lakir's men who are attacking you. In the Brainland quest, by Accent Fire, Walt Whitrose now recalls directions more accurately. Thank you. Scraps of paper associated with the Secret Stone quest, the Lost Pages, will now disappear momentarily after you pick them up. They will reappear a short time later, should you want to view the clue again. In the Welkenlofts instance, the Giant's Den, the dialogue and voiceover has been adjusted so that it does overlap or get cut off during the scene with Horn and Chieftain Hrungrog. The barrels in the Hootbolt Armory no longer try to kill players.
Well, I think that would be the last thing you'd expect. Oh, it's over there. Oh, just a couple barrels.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Boom. Yeah. I know. What in the world was that all about? Yes. Snowdrifts in the Misty Mountains associated with the quest, the missing fragments, are now only present while the quest is underway. Thank you for getting rid of that confusion. In the level 30 brawler instance, the melee in the square, neighbor Ned has learned to chill out and stop swinging his sword once the enemy is defeated. The Mirkwood quest, scattered in the forest, now properly shows Sturkest and Lahar at the forest gate for completion. Thank you. Fixed an issue with the Impulari spider shades in the Mukbahora fight in Tulzakana, not rendering properly. Okay. A quest item in the Wildemore quest, the Deadly Freeze, are no longer buried. Quest items in the Silken Hold quest, A Kindly Rescue, are no longer hidden. A Kargul rune associated with the Wold quest, The Ford, Defiled Runes, is no longer inside a tent. Players cannot enter. Thank you. In the Saragos quest, Banners of the Lady of Light, the Banners of the Stained are now easier to click on. In the Hutra quest, Healing Hutra Part 3, the good fishing spots now respawn properly after while in a duo fellowship. In the Anniversary Scavenger Hunt quest, Year 5 Tales Mary, players can now carry a pack of ponies. A pack to the ponies instead of a bucket.
Wow.
Here, let me just carry
Where do
this
you put
whole pack of ponies.
Okay, yeah, carry a pack to the ponies instead. Okay, instead of a bucket. Okay, yes. Gwyn Kirhonan will no longer be seen out and about in the gloomlands of Enidwythe before he has been freed from captivity. Okay, I guess that makes sense. The Moria quest, Strange Creatures, now correctly lists multiple flesh samples when collected. The Orc leader, Hoital, in instance, in defense of Airworth, will no longer have a ring on his head during his dialogue with Ingvar, son of Ingbert. In the Osgiliath instance, the Ruined City players who are defeated after defeating Throng will now be teleported to the correct checkpoint. The quest guide is now easier to see on the map for several quests in Dunland. Good, because I have a character that's ready to get into Dunland. The Eridmithrin quest, Trusted Tools, and Crafts of Old will no longer remote bestow to qualifying characters while they are inside mission area of interest. Thank you very much. I know I get annoyed when that pops up every time I do that mission.
I felt like I heard a lot of bitterness in your
Yeah. The category of the quest instance Dawn's Arrival has been corrected to Veils of Undoing Duskenvale. In the Arid Mithrin quest, Expect the Unexpected, the wording of the first objective has been adjusted to clarify, and an issue has been resolved where the Gundabad Black Arrow was in the wrong place, causing it not to count towards the quest advancement. Corrected a typo in the name and related deed of the Spirit of Remembrance in the Limelight Gorge. Note, the deed, the Spirits of the Limelight, will version upon release. The amount of Gauntmen in the Songhouse of Lindallery in Minas Morgul has been increased to speed completion of the quest Sigils of Sorrow. And fix multiple typos in the quest instance of a captive audience. As for tasks, the completion of tasks in Ziegelgun in For Hell now awards reputation for Thorn's Hall. All right. I wonder if it was giving nothing before, or if it was giving for the snowman before.
It was giving rep to somewhere else.
Yeah, to somewhere else. Okay, but that one does make sense for Thorn's Hall since it's all dwarves there. The completion of tasks in Akhair and Trimhuig in Angmar now award reputation for the Council of the North. Thank you.
Mhm.
The completion of tasks in Gabelishater in Angmar now awards reputation to Thorn's Hall. The completion of tasks in Ostfarod and Evenden now awards reputation for the Wardens of Aneminus. The bestowal text of the Aerolingus task in Rohan now specifies that the items are found in the Broadacres.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah. There are now 5 level 63 tasks in Southern Mirkwood that award reputation with the Maladream. The task board is located just outside of the Haunted Inn. Thank you. How many years have we been waiting for that one?
Longer than I've been playing.
Yeah. There are now 5 level 60 tasks in Lothlorien that award reputation with the Galadrim. The task board is located near Rohiril, the stable master just outside of Karas Galathon. The Ents of Fangorn Forest now offer 4 level 95 tasks. These can be acquired and turned in at Durningle in Fangorn Forest and at neighborhood task boards. Tasks in East Rohan now award reputation with either Men of the Wold, Men of the Norcrofts, Men of the Entwash Vale, or Men of the Sudcrofts. Yeah, that's another one that people have been waiting for a long time, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I know originally it didn't do it because they wanted most of the rep to be earned through Hootfold, but yeah, these days people don't have the patience for Hootfold, so. The completion of tasks in Eregion now awards reputation with the Elves of Rivendell. Duplicate tasks in the Elves of Rivendell have been removed from the level 31 to 40 neighborhood task boards. Housing neighborhood task collection boards have been updated to include Ikrabani, Adraheed, and Fedekari faction task quests. There is now a task collection box for 141 to cap task quests. This collection box has been added to Umbar, Ikrabani Valley and housing neighborhood locations. Task collection boxes in the Ikrabani Valley now allow players to turn in quests acquired from housing neighborhood task boards. And due to these changes, all 141 to 150 faction task quests have been versioned upon release. So yeah, quite a number of updates there to the task. Now, there is one item in here that I think is missing, and that is that they don't say anything about addressing the task headache in Dunland. Because in Dunland, when you have everybody says every single task board in all of Dunland says, "Oh, you turn these in Galtrev. Go to Galtrev to turn them in. You can pick them up anywhere, but you have to go to Galtrev to turn those things in." Or I guess you can also turn them in the housing neighborhoods. But I mean, really, can't you have the task board that gives you the quest actually collect it also? All right, maybe when the level cap for Treebeard reaches level 60,
Oh, and Treebird's
level
so you
75,
know
they can do that.
how long that's going to take.
Well, I
Leveling's
think that's
long for a person. Think about an ent leveling. Oh,
yeah. Well, I think that's the next area for them to enter would be, well, of course they just opened up the new one, so we're talking about another 6 months at least, I think.
To enter?
Yes, to enter.
Excellent.
All right. Let's go to instances and skirmishes then. The depths of Makta Corbo, menacing tentacles, can now drop on tier 3 and have improved drop rates on tier 4 and tier 5 soft locks. Do you know what that means, Krister?
No, no. It
Okay.
sounds like it should be menacing in some kind.
It sounds
Skirmish
like it
NP.
would require actually doing it at tier 3, though.
Well, yeah, I guess you got a point there.
I don't know that even Boy has made it to tier 3.
All right.
No.
Yeah. Skirmish NPCs had become a bit fragile over successful general balance updates. They've been made somewhat more resilient to compensate. Now, the last time I checked that was during the beta, where it looked like that at level 150, then in the Prancing Pony skirmish, the NPC's morale was doubled.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know relative change. That could have been that maybe it was only at the level cap where it's a full doubling, or if it's doubled across the board, or what. I don't know, but yes, they have a better chance of surviving. In addition to being able to help to heal them, that's a good combo, right? Also, Baron Gularin Castellan's chest key will now be deleted from your inventory when you exit Baron Gularin. When running instances on solo duo difficulty, the enhancement solo duo buff no longer incorrectly suggests that it reduces target mitigation ratings. In the instance Ethelwar, the Filth Well, the final boss will now wait until after she says, "You have been warned," to attack you.
Oh, that would have
And
been better to attack before you issue the warning, because then you catch people off guard.
Yes, but I appreciate that they let her get that out before they do that.
Well, I think we've all experienced speeches, bosses giving speeches long after they're dead.
Fair. Fair.
True.
Very true.
An issue has been addressed in the Minas Morgul instance, Kashan Kutot, the Halls of Black Lore, that could cause NPCs to get stuck. And as for Ikraban instances, the Ikraban instances quartermaster will now allow you to barter sand-worn copper tokens and a few rare instance barter items in exchange for an incomparable instance barter item. And in Penetrable Scorpion Carapace, a file of glistering well water or a fallen burial ward. In the instances in the Ikraban Valley, should now correctly be able to drop any type of jewelry regardless of your class. And Tool Zakana, the Well of Forgetting, the dual cursed hotspots in the Hands of Forgetting fight now extend their visual effects to the entire hotspot. Bahandring's Blessing of Rising Strength, Crescendo of Strength, now correctly repeats regularly in the Hands of Forgetting fight. And the Ordekai Sorcerer ability Consuming Shadow now shows a countdown tooltip when standing in the hotspot before the damaging pulse effect of the same name fires. Updated the Consuming Shadow hotspot to have a more vivid visual effect.
That is helpful.
As for missions and delvings,
unhelpful.
As for missions and delvings, a change has been made to make consistent that all enemies inside missions, including the Legacy of Morgoth missions, will drop trophies except for enemies that respawn and enemies that are summoned by another enemy. Thank you. It was really annoying, the fact that they dropped absolutely nothing at all in any of those missions. The mission twist, Crushing, now includes a 4-second induction. Monster animations for crushing have been updated. The ice pillars in missions to drive a wedge no longer shimmers after they have been destroyed. The explosive barrels in mission The Gate Captain now have more boom. The barrels also no longer are visible post-explosion. Yeah, I was always wondering about that. The mission twist, The Elder Slade mission, Abandoned Supplies, no longer incorrectly announces you have bested the Goblin Leader on mission conclusion. Clarified the wording in the Swanfleet mission, patrol the township to indicate that and how many brigands must be defeated before the scout spawns. Note, the mission patrol the township will be versioned upon release. The Cardaland quest, Unlikely Friends, has been updated to clarify that Rendau needs to be summoned within the ruins of Gavarad to advance the quest. Note, Unlikely Friends will be versioned upon release. In the Ikraban Valley mission, securing Cure Unzar, several barricades no longer float in Barkushim and no longer fly, and Barkushim no longer patrol through the barricades. Yes, them walking through the barricades is rather creepy. I know they're cultists. What do you expect? In the Elder Slade mission, Collapsing the Old Paths, a dual fellowship can no longer have their progress blocked by having the non-channeling player trigger a tunnel explosion without advancing the quest objective. On the Umbar mission, the Beast of Belphalis, only Tarasad will now return to the middle of the cave if drawn out. I don't think I've ever drew Tarasad out of the cave, so I didn't realize that that would reset the whole thing. 2 new cosmetic pets are now available at Delving Barter, the Tome of the White Hamster and the Tome of the Ruby Sandworm. Delving pets are now arranged in barter by price. Delving pets and housing items have been split into 2 separate barters. The extraordinary delving chest found in Tier 7 and higher delving chests now drops a level 150 portent as an additional reward. In the mission, the Jaruka Clan Chapter 1, the Cave Rats and Scavenging Redbig will now appear in the radar. Thank you very much. That'll certainly help the people who haven't done it before and have absolutely no clue as to where they're at. And in the Gunabad mission, Hall of Ice, impassable ice blockades now reset if the players are defeated by Hartug. As for housing and decorations, the Mushroom Hunter's Hearth has been made a bit larger to better fit various homes. Now, any comments about missions and delving updates?
Not really. No.
Then let's go to items and rewards then. Added new cosmetic weapon inventories for the Utugi, adds an Utugi phase Bahora boss into Zakana. That pretty much was a okay. Herbalist shoes from the Fane of Accursed now have a classic essence slot that they were intended to have. The following skill emote granting items received from the treasure hunt event will now disenchant into buried treasure tokens for those who have already earned the skills and emotes. In Cave Claw Steeds, Rich, a treasure-laden goat, and treasure-laden steed, counterfeit, gem inspection, coin flip, dowels, and the gold panning. There is now a mariner armor in the court of the found at Dol Amroth, who will barter for minimum level 100 mariner armor with armor set bonuses. Portents of Ill Omens and events now share a cooldown. Further Adventures of Eladon and Elrohir themes is now available for barter from Celeblir in Rivendell. The Ikraban Valley Instance Reward Vendor now has music boxes available featuring music from the Ikraban Valley Instance Cluster. Characters who already completed the quest, The Secrets of Sarkford, will receive the updated quest rewards, including a small statue housing decoration. All right. They do have this in release. Yes, I noticed this because whenever I log in with any of my characters that have gone through that, I suddenly have this statue of Loiloth, this small statue of Loyola is in there. So I was wondering why I was suddenly seeing all these statues of Loyola in my inventories. Fix
They
some.
probably had a glut. They needed to get rid of him, so they had a
Oh,
special.
okay. Yeah.
I'm going to guess that I won't see them on M when I log her in, but I probably will on everybody else as they finish it.
Okay.
She
Fix
has
some
her,
tooltips. Yeah.
she has her housing item bag.
Ah, okay. I don't know if any of your characters have done the Secrets of Sarkthorn.
I think M did, didn't she?
Oh, yes, right. You went back to do deeds over everywhere, right? Oh, that's
We went back to do deeds over everywhere, right?
yeah. But I didn't know if we did the quests or not. That's the
I think we did because we finished out the
okay.
quest deeds as well.
Oh, we finished out the quest deeds. Okay, in which case, yes, that means we would have done that. All right, good. And then fix some tooltips in the collection's bobble page, which erroneous referenced mounts. And trophy items collected from enemies now have a line in their description detailing whether those items can be collected into your task or junk carryalls to prevent confusion. As for PvMP, the War Leader tutorial has been updated to allow for using the Brawler stance or normal version of the Cleave stance. And the quest Cultivation Selfish Request is now listed as a small fellowship quest. Now for Landscape. An undoing moss associated with the Dusked Vale quest the river provides has been moved from inside of a rock to on top of it. A, a
I'm just happy
float.
about that.
Yeah, okay. A floating treasure cache at Zamerzir in the Shield Isles has been grounded. Combined multiple structures into Tor Gardens to help improve physics performance. Floating objects in Ikerban Valley have been grounded. Stuck spots in Nigambar have been resolved. Fixed radar in Dil Irmes. Fixed painting floating off the wall in Hubo Clayhanger's house. Enemies and pets should now path correctly in the vault of Celebrian's legacy. Okay. Those are the. Okay, that's the one where we pick up that thing inside that secret vault in the Troll Halls. All right. The Iron Garrison's guards giving directions to the Chamber of the Crossroads are now more specific. Task boards in the Otterheed, the Ikerbani, and the Fedakari are now marked on the map. Miscellaneous boulder issues in Wildemore have been resolved. Misleading floating objects have been grounded. The mission stable master in Anarkufu will now automatically discover all other mission stable master locations. Yeah, that was a little bit of an annoyance. Housing neighborhood task collection boards have been updated to include Ikerbani, Otterheed, and Fedakari faction task quests. There is now a new task collection box for 141 Decap task quest. This collection box has been added to Umbar, Ikerban Valley, and the housing neighborhood locations. I think they also said that under tasks. The Ikerban Valley task quests have been updated to accept paper task quests from housing neighborhoods. Due to these changes, all 141 and 150 task quests have been versioned. Miscellaneous decorative items in Kudzagin have been resolved. Miscellaneous decorative items in Kutra have been resolved. The marsh mud that slows you in southern Mirkwood was unintentionally giving you a bonus to your evasion, which really doesn't make sense. So now it won't.
Well, okay, but I'm just going to point out in the movie Predator, Arnold was able to evade the Predator by being muddy. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I mean, it is a key component of camouflage.
Yeah, but that should give you a different type of bonus. That should give you a bonus for a chance to be missed or something like that, rather
Well,
than an
I'm
evasion
pretty sure
improvement.
if they miss me, I have evaded them.
See,
Well, miscellaneous floating or improperly intersecting decoitis have been resolved. The giant intersecting foliage in Talain Bungad has been removed. Condor's hideout is no longer accessible in King's Gondor. Miscellaneous terrain textures and landscape scene issues have been resolved. Crossover physics issues between the lone lands between and Cardland have been resolved. The travel route from Zaduru to Jarouge will no longer get stuck on a rock. Umbari housing stable masters and dock masters will no longer wander. Miscellaneous placement and terrain issues in the following areas have been fixed: Ambrul, Kudzagin, Impilar, Umbar Baharbel, Gundabad, Forhale, Wildwood, and Unfalis. Well, any comments on any of that, or have you already said them all?
I believe I filled my smarty pants quota on that section.
I'm good on this section.
Okay, then let's go to localization. For those selling kinship houses in German, please use SZ and umlaut forms of street names. In the voiceover, several characters from Update 42 now have German voiceover that's been altered to more closely match the English voiceover in tone.
Boo. I'm sorry. That seemed unnecessary. Okay. I have opinions on that.
Okay. Since I'm not exactly sure about what the exact circumstance in there, I don't know whether that's.
I don't know either, but trying to match English tone from other languages isn't always a worthwhile effort.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's go to French. For the French, the Sangamek turn-in dialogue at Tarash now displays properly. The dialogue with Erna during the quest A Stern Lesson in the Dale Lands now displays properly. Correct text to make French text respond correctly when using /JDR we. And secure the landing of Kur Anzar turn-in dialogue now displays properly. For German, the quest bestowal dialogue for Finding Blue quest in the Blackroot Vale renewed and now displays properly in English. The character sheet tooltip for Burglar of the Might stat now has properly refers to burglar. Corrected erroneous base afterwards name in the title The Wary. In the quest Beauty of the Land, Ravethron now describes the correct direction in his dialogue. In the quest Crafting the Maker's Hall, dialogue with Egil Albart now displays properly. The translations for Wandalb Graham in German have been updated. Text for Friends Court intro quest Silver Lined Cure has been fixed and up. Hold on. Friends Court intro quest? You mean this has been wrong for 17 years? If I got around to fixing it?
Yep.
Updates to the translation of Bloody Crop from the Aldberg Quick the Crops quest. And that's it for localization updates. For art and avatars, High Elves have received a visual update including new avatar creation flexibility and options. All High Elf characters will automatically utilize their new looks when they log in, and many players will find their new looks very similar to their old look. However, players who wish to further adjust their look of their characters can visit a barber located in many of the major settlements, including Bree, Thorns Hall, the Dale Lands, Erebor, Minas Tirith, and Rivendell.
See, I didn't realize they were changing high elves as well. I thought it was just the elves that they
Well,
were changing this time.
they changed the elves during the fall,
Mm.
and then they're still tweaking them here.
Oof.
But yeah,
Okay.
they've been getting requests from high elf players to also update the high elf one. So
All right. Hopefully, it didn't damage Cinders too much.
okay, well, I guess the next time you are able to play, we could have a look at that.
Yes.
Elves now have softer head model variants, a new softer face complexion, and a new mouth. Fixed many more human and elf female animations that had head movements and and shape errors. This patch includes many emotes and combat weapon types. Generic skin tone palette used by a race of men and elves now supports more olive tone variants. Elves and high elves once more have sneezing special effects when performing the sneeze emote. Oh, yeah, I guess that's appropriate time to have a sneezing special effect. Elves and high elves yes, have had their unique sheathing animations restored. Fixed a bug that caused race of man and elf auto attack animations to play incorrectly, and high elf characters selection scene now has a brighter light for better color matching. As for miscellaneous changes, there's a new UI setting. Show PvP rank icon allows you to turn on or off the PvP rank icon on the nameplate UI. Updated the Yondershire Reputation Barter to include Yondershire music boxes. Updated the Carterland Reputation Barter to include additional deco types. An auctioneer and a master of crafting guilds has been added to the Swain's Guild Hall in Umbar Baharbel.
Oh, that's a nice improvement there.
Yeah. And Bashim, an NPC found in the Pot and Quill in Umbar Baharbel, now has feet.
He probably appreciates that.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates it. Yeah. Fixed an issue where Foreman Oter in the dwarf introduction instance into the Silver Deep would properly start kicking during the drama.
Not properly.
Or would randomly.
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 That's also been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
I remember just thinking he was like super spirited and involved in it and like expressive with his frustrations. And not thinking that it was just random.
And 2 NPCs in Galtref Dunland who were kicking the air for no reason are now instead having a conversation. Ah.
I still think kicking the air for no reason is a matter of opinion. If we're going to personify the NPCs anyways, maybe they were just having a bad day.
They're having a bad
shadowboxing their nemesis.
Oh, well.
And all of their problems.
Anyway, now it's time to look at the known issues. For the deed log, the deed panel's search bar is title only and does not search other parts of the deed nor rewards for text matches. So that's right. For now, it's only searching the title. I presume that since they're calling it a known issue, that they are going to address that at some point. Text matches must be exact matches to the text entered, including spaces. All right. Autocomplete features are not available in the deed log search bar. Deed categories and subcategories in which the character has no deeds remain shown. Opening the deed log prevents the escape key from closing the panel. Plus and minus arrow indicators for collapsing and expanding categories and subcategories animate incorrectly when opening and closing UI panels. And as for the minstrel, the heal on expiration for the blue line minstrel skill, Legend of Helm Hammerhand, is not working properly. I don't think the minstrels are happy about that one. And that is it for the notes for update 43. And that was a doozy. Yeah, almost an hour and a half. Oh, good grief. Maybe I should have broken that up or something.
I think that was the tsunami.
Yeah, that was the tsunami. Okay, yes, I think we were talking about a tsunami upcoming at one point. So, remember that I earlier mentioned that there were 2 crashes. Remember that we do have that some deed completions are having it in your first login after the start of the LI season. Those things are with us. So be aware of that if you suddenly crash. And of course, remember that next week we have the opening of the 64-bit worlds.
Yay!
Yeah. So
Oh, it's finally here.
Yes. So on Monday is going to be Monday afternoon server time. That's when the VIPs will have an opportunity to log into the world, not logging into characters. You can't create characters. No, actually, you can create characters. You can create up to 3 characters, but you won't be able to transfer any characters there or play in there or actually log into any of the characters. All you could do is create up to 3 characters. And that way you could use it to do things like reserving names that you especially want to have during the transfer process. And then on Tuesday at noon on the server time, that is when they are going to open up the worlds. Well, they won't open up the worlds. What they'll do is they will open up transfer to the new worlds. So there you can start transferring your characters over. But you won't be able to play the characters there. So, of course, once you transfer a character, you won't be able to play any of the characters that you transferred. So, therefore, for me, I have to either play on a world where I'm not planning to transfer, or I could play DDO Tuesday night. And let's see there. And then on Wednesday at 1 p.m., that is the target time for opening up the 4 new worlds in there. So the 2 in the US, 2 in the EU. So they'll open up then, and you are all set to play. Just remember that if you are in a kinship, we hope that the kin leader has arranged, assuming you want to stay with a kin, is you'd want the kin leader to log in first. Because if you log in for the first time on a character before the kin leader logs in, they're going to say, okay, you're a member of this kinship? Oh, wait a minute. There's no kinship of that name. All right. Remove the kinship marker then.
Go.
So you don't want that to happen. You want then to wait for the kin leader. Now, in one kin I am in, the kin leader says that he is going to try his best to log in as soon as those servers open up to alleviate that issue. But yes, he is going to be transferring the characters on Tuesday and then logging in as soon as possible on Wednesday. But you will hope that if you have a kin leader that's doing that if you have a Discord for your kinship or anything like that the kin leader will post the message that they have transferred and that they have logged into the new world and that everything's all set up and that they've informed everyone that that's what they'll be doing so that no one goes in there and jumps in at 1 p.m. and wonder why he's no longer a member of the kin. All right, and that is it for our news this week. But we do have a couple of events to discuss, and that is that the Buried Treasure event is open now until March 3rd, and the hardtack crafting event is open now until March 7th. So if you like to participate in either of those two, this is the time to do it. And that's it for our news this week. So let's go into store sales. Cinders, what's on sale this week?
On sale this week, you can start a new journey and get 25% off of character slots, veteran status, stat packages, XP boosts through March 6th. And the weekly coupon is for free skill and Slayer deed boost with the coupon code MARCHLION, MARCHLION, with no spaces, also through March 6th.
All right. Well, it looks like the March so far has been, well, actually, it's been pretty windy, so I guess there's a little bit of a March lion out there. So let's then head into our week in gaming. Krister, what have you been up to?
I had my real world adventure, and my ruin was almost smote, but I came back as Krister the White, and that's just mainly because I've been indoors this winter. I did get into LOTRO, and I did the most epic thing I could have done, which is to clear 50 inventory spaces. So now I'm ready for the next 15 minutes of actual gameplay before I filled them back up. So this was a pretty light week in gaming. However, I'm feeling better on all fronts and looking forward to increasing my gaming activity. Cinders, what were you up to this week?
I patched Lotro and then was sick. So I patched Lotro. That's what I did. And Piley, what were you up to?
Well, I dusted off my Quick Hollow Warden, and I managed to get up to level 146, so slowly climbing up in there. It looks like I need to get some better equipment as I'm going up into there, because I see that I'm not quite poking deep enough holes into the enemy at the moment. But I'm slowly working my way up on there. I don't know if I'm going to hit 140, if I'm going to hit 150 before the transfers or not, but we'll see. As for my Legible Warden, I was searching for birds. So I was looking for that all over the place. I was testing out the birds in the new areas in there, and that's where I was reporting on how high a level I had to be and stuff like that. And I also managed to complete a few deeds for birds up in Eriador that were still having loose ends on them, and that's why I know that, yes, completing a birding deed can indeed crash you. So perhaps I will refrain from doing any further birding until after they fix that fix that particular issue. And we also joined Friday Night Fight, and we ran Bells of Dale, Thievery and Mischief, and Trouble in Tuckborough. And in DDO, I created a Dragon Disciple. This is a new, this is a new, sort of a class variant. They have these things in DDO where you can have class variants of an existing one. So this is Dragon Disciple. This is the final little thing that they had for the Year of the Dragon, since the Year of the Dragon has given way to the Year of the Snake now. So this was our final little gift from Standing Stones to the players in there. And I ran several instances using this. So I am having fun with that character, which is strange because I usually haven't had too much fun with the monk. So it looks like I'm having fun with this particular one. And that's it for my week in gaming. We do not have any emails this week, but if you like Sense One, you can send it to podcast@loachplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We record Loach Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You guys choice for our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Piley Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.